Israeli negotiators have arrived in Cairo for crucial talks aimed at advancing the first phase of the Gaza ceasefire. Prime Minister Netanyahu approved the talks after consultation with US officials. Meanwhile, US Secretary of State Marco Rubio has condemned Hamas for retaining both hostages and bodies of deceased captives, calling it sick depravity. In response, Israeli Security Cabinet is set to meet to discuss the next phase of the truce, including long-term plans for Gaza. As the world watches closely, international pressure mounts for a sustainable ceasefire and a resolution to the conflict. For more on this discussion, we are joined by Ali M. Abushbak, independent Palestinian researcher located in Cairo. And we're also joined by Lev Aran, former coordinator of Israel-India Parliamentary Friendship League, located in Israel. Ali M. Abushbak, I wanted to come to you first on this question. In regard to Israeli officials going to Cairo for these ceasefire talks, is this about, do you think this is a genuine effort from Israel to secure long-term peace?
Well, thank you for having me, but let me inform that the Palestinians remain in a state of suspense over the uncertain future of the fragile ceasefire. Since the Israeli has not yet fully adhered to its commitment under the deal between Hamas and Israel, Israel is still putting a restrict on the humanitarian aid to enter Gaza and putting the restrict to let the mobile home and heavy machine to enter Gaza. So the first phases of the deal between Hamas and Israel is not fully commitment and is still not fully adhered to from the Israeli side. What is happening that Israelis a negotiation team that went to Cairo, I guess to discuss the Cairo plans about the future of Gaza. Despite that, Israel still seems that's not serious about the ceasefire between Hamas and Gaza, while that the humanitarian condition in Gaza is still miserable. So there is no any hope for remaining the ceasefire between Hamas and Israel. We have seen the release of the statement from the Israelis leader that they will open the hell gate on the Gaza if it's still Hamas holding the captive or hostages, and they didn't release it whole in one time.
Lev Aran, I wanted to ask you about the same talks. Obviously, Israeli officials going to Cairo to push forward the first phase of the ceasefire deal. Is this a step towards a longer-term peace, do you think?
The only reason why Netanyahu agrees to the second phase is because this is a red line, and he cannot walk over the red line of President Trump. If it was Biden, I guess Netanyahu would cross his red lines the same way that both Hamas and the Israeli government crossed the red lines that Biden put on both sides. Now we have Steve Witkoff, that on one hand, he's promising Israel an everlasting peace without Palestinians, when Palestinians live out of Gaza. So this is like a huge perk that the Americans are offering Netanyahu's government. On the other hand, Trump tells Netanyahu, there is a second phase and you have to be there, you have to send a delegation to Cairo. And although Netanyahu would prefer not to send the delegation and to bring back the far-right parties from his coalition, I think he had to be compliant to the dictate of President Trump.
Ali M. Abushbak, I wanted to move on now to the strike that's killed 3 police in Gaza, which Hamas has called a cease violation from Israel. If Hamas claims this as a violation, how should it be handled? And should this lead to a retaliation, or should diplomacy be prioritized, do you think?
See, the aim of the war that from the day one that Benjamin Netanyahu and his coalition far right wing in Israel, it was the Hamas must be eradicated. So after 15 months of the war, still Hamas remained the power in Gaza and controlling the Gaza, and that the bombardment yesterday that targeted the three security guards from Hamas. Obviously, it's violated the ceasefire between Hamas and Israel, and this is not new since the day. And also, it happened in Lebanon that after reach to the ceasefire, Israel violated the ceasefire more and more and assassinated the civilians. So Hamas, it's still remain the silence, and Hamas it seems that showing they're serious to move to the second phases of the negotiation. On the ground, Israel doesn't accept it, and Benjamin Netanyahu, he caught between rocket and tough place or hard place. Between he want to take advance of the war, and he want to maintain his coalition, government coalition between him and his far right wing in Israel, and between the community of Israel who want to release the hostages or captive from the Hamas. So, and I guess sending the delegation to Cairo to show the Israeli community who's protesting day and day that I'm serious and I'm going through the negotiation, but unfortunately Hamas doesn't want. A mutual allegation between Hamas and Israel, who's violated the conflict, who's violated the ceasefire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's not new between Hamas and Israel, and we have seen yesterday Israel attack the Offer prison in West Bank, and they are what they call it. Many reported and many news describe it as a barbaric attack to Palestinian prisoner. Yeah.
Lev, Iran, I wanted to ask you about the same thing in question. Israel has defended these strikes in Gaza as necessary for its security. With this, the ceasefire deal, does targeting Palestinian police risk undermining trust in the process?
As far as Israelis are concerned, there was a ceasefire between Hamas and Israel on October 7th. When we had this barbaric attack, massacre, rape, and so on. And I don't think any Israeli, right or left, sees any of Hamas militants, police people, or other people as people that should be protected. Now, Israel is sure that if Hamas had a toolbox to attack Israel right now, they would do it. The only advantage that Hamas has, as far as Israel is concerned, is the hostages. This is the only thing that Israel cannot do without, without the Hamas agreeing to release them. So in all other areas, in all other spheres, Israel will treat Hamas people as militants, as terrorists, and if Israel feels that they wish to attack Israel, Israel will kill them even during a ceasefire. So I do not think that we'll see a grave circumstances to this, but we will have to see.
Ali, I was wondering, do these bombs that have just landed in Israel now, does this kind of prove what do you think of these heavy bombs that have arrived in Israel, courtesy of Donald Trump releasing them after President Biden's block?
See, I guess there is one Israeli opposition. He said that Israel fell in love with the war. So whatever that Israel, even they will release all the captive, Israel will go back to the war. Since that Benjamin Netanyahu, his dream to not the Palestinian take their the right for establishing their state as two-state solution, as a two-state solution as the significant solution for the Palestinian and Israel conflict. So and also who's coming that Donald Trump, who's supporting Benjamin Netanyahu and his aggressive idea and plan against Palestinian, like ethnic cleansing the Palestinian which all the international community condemned it and doesn't agree it. So on the ground that Palestinians will remain their resistance and their resilience for their home, since the land it's equal to honor for Palestinian, and we have seen that the new term that will not let the second Nakba happen. So Benjamin Netanyahu, he full backed from Donald Trump, and I guess he easily manipulated Donald Trump to support him for his aid. So, in my opinion, despite the war will resume again, and what will happen, Palestinians will steadfast and they will resume their existence in the land. About Israel, yeah.
Lev Aran, I wanted to ask you about the same shipment of these heavy bombs that have been let go by Donald Trump and have now arrived in Israel. How do people in Israel feel about you receiving these very, very powerful weapons?
Bearing the INA corridor from Mumbai port to Haifa port, in all other aspects, Trump is doing the opposite of what Biden did. And I think in this continuum, most Israelis see it, because as far as the war in Gaza is concerned, I don't think Israelis feel that we need these bombs to win the Hamas militants inside Gaza. Even without these bombs, Israel won the war. So the issue is that as far as Israelis are concerned, the most important thing is, can Israel do whatever it wants in Gaza without being punished by the international community or not? This is the most important issue for Israelis, not the new policy, not the new defense policy of Trump.
Ali M. Bushback, there has been amazing visuals of trucks flowing in from Egypt with huge amounts of humanitarian aid. Is this enough alone to help Gaza recover? And what other true reconstruction or political resolution is needed for Gazans to truly recover?
Well, sorry.
Sorry. Lev Aran, I wanted to ask you, how does Israel feel about these trucks and trucks of humanitarian aid coming in from Egypt? Yes.
So on one hand, I don't think most Israelis want the continuity of this war. I think most Israelis feel that this war, what we got, what we didn't get, we didn't get. But on the other hand, I don't think that most Israelis think that the Gazans are that hungry, because we saw the pictures of the hostages. Yes, they were starved. It was like a Holocaust pictures, and around them you saw hundreds of Hamas militants who looked quite good. So I think that for most Israelis, maybe Israelis are right, maybe they are wrong, but as far as Israelis are concerned, the hunger in Gaza is popped up and played up, and the Gazans are not that hungry, and a lot of the food is stolen by Hamas. They are taking commission for this food, and this is the big issue.
Thank you very much, Lev Aran and Ali M. Bushback, for joining us in that discussion. We will now move to some more news updates.